kai asembiara dia odiaye Ghana no yere mfida. Why am I saying this is because in 2024 I remember vividly when our current president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, says that for being in opposition for 8 good years, he has learned a lot of lessons, a lot of mistakes that his government, they committed. And therefore, when given the nod to become president again, he's going to correct the mistakes and the lessons. Now, I also throw a question to Ghanaians, to all of us. With the flood issue or flood situation, do we think that our current president, John Dramani Mahama, has really learned lessons and has solutions to the problem? It is just a question I'm asking. I am not attacking his personality or his government or anyone, but I'm just asking a question as a Ghanaian, not as NPP communicator, but as a Ghanaian, because you told me that you have learned from your mistakes and you are therefore looking for or seeking for power to correct the mistakes. Now, let me throw emphasis on what I'm talking about. John Dramani Mahama has been president before, and a lot of things happened. I remember even his time, we also had this flood situation. We had a lot of loss of lives. Even in a situation where we even had fire explosion and all that, in addition to the flood, killing many Ghanaians, sadly. And I was actually looking forward to see a government of NDC. When I say government, it even includes some of the NPP MPs in Parliament. So I have to change the word government and even say the NDC administration, so that it can be narrowed. I was looking forward to seeing an execution of wonderful solutions to our problems, because something that you've been before, you've been there before, you saw everything that were there, you witnessed everything that were there, and unfortunately you lost power, and you have been in opposition for 8 very good years, and you're the same person that says that I have not seen the way clearly, only for you to come in, and then we even have a worse situation of flood reoccurring. Then the question is, has he really learned a lesson, or is he really having the solution to the reoccurring flooding situation in Ghana, particularly in Accra? Is he really having it? The situation we have in Ghana for the reoccurring flood situation, like I said from the very beginning, we are all involved. We are all part of it. We are all to take responsibility. First of all, we are all to share blames. And in fact, we are all to accept blames, but we are not to share blames. Let me put it that way. To blame, to point fingers at each other, to say it's you or it is me or whatever. I think that wouldn't lead us to a beautiful.
But I think the question I asked was,
okay.
Your party was in power during the NPP, a time in government. Several flood control projects were initiated. Why does the flooding remain such a persistent national problem?
Thank you. I was actually coming to your question. All that I said were just an introduction to my delivery. So I was just about to come to your question, and then you came in. But anyway, thanks so much for the reminder again, even though I didn't forget. NPP, in the time of the administration of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we invested money into this drainage system. Today, the NDC is even saying that we invested that amount in the drainage system, and yet we are having this results today. It is not that we are having this results today. During the time of Akufo-Addo, when we invested that amount into the drainage system, we all remember that all the 4 years, or let me say, years of Akufo-Addo, we didn't get a flood situation like this. So it means that the money we invested into the drainage system at least gave us a resource. We didn't experience something like that. Now the NDC is saying that the money was too huge. So now my question is, whether the money was so huge or the money was not huge, at the end of the day, we didn't lose a life. We didn't see situation like this. So this time they did not invest at all into it, and they did not do anything at all about it. It has taken them like a surprise, but it shouldn't be like a surprise, because John Dramani Mahama administration has been in government before. That's what I'm saying. Our party did something, invested money into it, and we actually did not experience this like we did during the first time of John Dramani Mahama, or the previous time of administration of John Dramani Mahama, and even the current administration of John Dramani Mahama is where we have experienced both two serious, or the most serious tragedies in our recurring of flood situation. The first one and this very one. We didn't experience like that in the time of Akufo-Addo. So it means that the money that was invested during the time of Akufo-Addo gave us a result.
Wouldn't you say maybe your government didn't also invest in a climate resilient infrastructure? That's also contributed to what we're seeing now.
The thing is, what I see is that our engineers are also to be blamed, and individuals to be blamed. It's amazing that the gutters we construct, the drainage systems we construct, especially the gutters, you'll be surprised that a newly constructed gutter, when you put water into it, it doesn't flow, it doesn't go, it's stagnant. So instead of creating or constructing gutters, we end up constructing dustbins. Our gutters, or some of our gutters today, I call them dustbins. I call them dustbins because the water in it do not flow. The waters in it do not flow. They are stagnant. And therefore, another issue also is that we do not cover our gutters. So when the wind blows, it blows the rubbish or the garbage into the gutter, and they don't flow. They stay there. So instead of constructing gutters for water to have way to go, we rather construct dustbins. And we individuals also we also contribute to these problems by, depositing rubbish and whatever into our gutters and into our rivers and into our seas, and where we're not supposed to even dump rubbish, we do that. So and most of the time we all shift the blame to the current government. Whoever is current, we shift the blame to government. The issue at Odor, or how do they call it, the Odor, right? The Odor River. I went to Circle, and I stood on the overhead, and what I realized is that when you are coming from Asylum down, the road has sloped towards Circle, the overhead there. When you look at the Braka Road also, it has also sloped towards Circle. And when you look at also the other direction, going to Abosokan side also, has also sloped, coming to the same direction. And then the same applies to the other side. So it means that all waters coming from these areas are all coming to Circle. And this is the reason why most of the time when we have this flood thing, it becomes worse at circle because of the. So I don't know. I think we need to arise. We need to sit down as a nation to really replan. I think to replan and then and make our nation great and strong, because this situation must be solved once and for all.
Did you think your government in power in those days did a good job?
Well, I won't say 100% did a good job, but I'll say that with the little investment my NPP invested into our drainage system issue, we didn't see this. My thing is, we did not see this flood situation currently we see now, or what happened a few days ago. We didn't see that. And also, what also happened during the first administration of John Dramani Mahama, the same flood situation with even fire explosion, we also didn't see the same. So at least we did a little bit of that, even though we didn't do 100% work. And I think we need to go back to Genesis in our construction of our drainage systems. We need to go back to this. I think no matter the amount you invest into this our drainage system, I think the results will still not be that great, because there is a fundamental issue of the construction of our gutters. A lot of the gutters are not flowing. They are not sloped. They are not going. You see, and if a gutter is not sloped, the water is not going, definitely it will overflood, and then it will come to the street. So my answer to your question is that yes, NPP did something about it, but it is not 100%, because there is a fundamental problem, which is our gutters. And even these days, it will surprise you that when you bypass a newly constructed road, and they are constructing new gutters, it will shock you that you get there and you even pour a little water into it, and you see that it doesn't flow. So there is an issue of engineering. It's an engineering problem. You see, the another thing also. The thing is that politicians are not the direct people that construct the gutters or drainage systems. They make policies. They let's say I want this political word to use. They lobby, and after the contract has been awarded or signed, it goes through a lot of channels before it gets to even the contractor. And now the contractor is the one that even will say that's the construction of our gutters. But the thing is, at the end of the day, we don't even, when the gutter is not well constructed, we do not blame the constructors, the engineers or the contractors or whatever. Straight quickly, then we shift the blame to the government or the president or whoever. But I think we must bring in laws, rules and regulations. I mean, things to regulate our contractors and whatever. Because I think we need to also have laws, national laws, that when an individual wins a gutter construction or a drainage system construction or street construction or whatever construction you gain from the government, there should be something to hold the person that you are doing this, and we want to ensure that, or make sure that he has to last for these number of years. If it doesn't, then you are going to use your own money to reconstruct it. And I think with that, they will do a great job. They'll do a great job.
Is it my problem is that your government in power, you secured over $350 million for the Accra reintegrated development, that's a GETRADE, flooding resilient program, the largest flood mitigation initiative in Greater Accra's history, $350 million US. The debate is not whether funding was obtained, but whether implementation was fast and effective enough to significantly reduce the reoccurring floods with all this amount of money during your government tenure from 2019.
Okay, good. So comparing life to the amount you mentioned, and I'll say that there is no any amount in the world that is more worthier than life.
Because the World Bank gave, in 2019, gave 200 million US dollars to improve the flood control, drainage, solid waste management, and upgrade vulnerable communities in Greater Accra. Additionally, 2014, your government received $150 million approved by Parliament and the World Bank to expand the drainage works, construct detention ponds, improve the Odo Basin, establish a flood early warning system, and strengthen waste management. So this brought to the total funding to $350 million. What went wrong?
Okay, so
why did we find ourselves where we are today? If we have all this amount of money, why is the flooding, the reoccurring, become more worse? Because 2019, 2020, 22, 23, 24, 5 years. And we find ourselves in a worse situation.
Okay, so L, if all the monies in the world invested into Ghana's drainage system, and then we didn't see what we saw a few days ago, that's case one. Case two, zero Ghana cedi was invested, meaning that no money at all was invested into Ghana's our drainage system, and therefore we saw what we saw a few days ago. In which of these two cases will say it is better for Ghanaians? So therefore, it poses a point on it is not the amount of money, because I'm very sure that if the NDC communicator were to be here, it would have taken this money thing we're talking about so strong that you say this amount was invested. What did you do? So I've given you. Someone invested 350 whatever amount into the drainage system, and we didn't see what we saw. And someone didn't even invest at all, and we saw what we saw. Which situation is better? Because there is no amount that is too much than a life.
So are you saying?
So what I'm saying is that looking at what MPP did and what NDC has done, I would say it is better with what MPP has done, because we didn't see that, and that is better than what we've seen. Daddy, do you know that what occurred few days ago? The lives, the properties, businesses, whatever that has happened is worth even more than that amount you're talking about, even if we are to correct or to go back and correct whatever. Even the amount of money that Dr. Alhaj Mahmoud Bawumia has invested in making sure that it gives a lot of comfort to the victims, together with what the NDC administration is also doing now, are they all not in total heading towards this amount we're talking about, or even more, or even less? So it is better to solve a problem than to allow the problem to happen before you invest into it. So to compare NDC and NPP in this situation, I am not being political here. I am just being a Ghanaian here, that someone invested this money and had this resource. It didn't happen. We didn't see flood situation like we are seeing now, or we saw a few days ago. We didn't see loss of lives like we are seeing now, and even in the first administration of John Dramani Mahama. And then the second administration of John Dramani Mahama, they didn't invest into it at all, and then we saw this again. Which situation is better? It has happened now, and Daddy, I'm telling you, now government has to come in to help. NADMO has to come in a lot of institutions has to come in to try to, when the thing has already happened. How long shall we kill our prophets? And why do we stand aside and look? How long? I am not saying that NPP did a marvelous job. NPP did 100% excellent job. No. But with the money they invested in our drainage system, we saw a result at least.
No, so
now the issue, the thing is that we don't blame the two.
No, the point is that
now we don't blame the two. What we have to do rather is that we go to a national.
Are you saying that? Are you saying that the question is not about the funding secure, but whether the implementation and enforcement matches the scale of the flooding challenge?
Well, that's why I said that even though we didn't see the flood situation like we saw, but we didn't. Something, at least we saw something. We saw a particular resource, and I am also saying that most of the time, these monies, when released, what government officials does is, like I said earlier, they do the lobbying, they do the consultation, they do the whatever. But at the end of the day, it is channeled direct to the ground to engineers. It is engineers who does the job. It's like someone establishing a TV station and employing a host or journalist. And the journalist says something on air which is not supposed to be said. Now, who is to blame? The owner of the station, the TV station, or the journalist? Who? So that's why I'm saying that our engineers also are part of the problem, and we individuals are also part of the problem. So it calls for a national discussion now. It goes beyond a political discussion now, and it makes it enforcing that monies that